The stock market is moving heavily, and we got some decent news that's going to be moving it more. We're going to be talking about the stock market, some news that's going on, and what to expect next week. So to start, I just want to start off with some analysts a little bit before we get into the news. So basically, as you guys can see, we kind of got some news last week saying like the tariffs aren't really as aggressive, and just like the stock market has been moving green for a couple of days because of it. But recently, as you guys know, I think on Friday we got some bad news saying that tariffs are going to be more official. We're going to be talking about those tariffs because they are official as of yesterday. We did have a market sell off with that. So I want to talk more about tariffs and how it's going to affect the market in the future, and more about DeepSeek AI. But with that being said, we did have tariffs signed last week. I think China, we had a 10%, and then Canada, Mexico, we had a 25%. I talked more on that on Friday's video, but that's kind of what we've been kind of dying out with. And I think the market is going to be you're going to see a little bit of a sell off a little bit more because of the tariffs getting officiated, and overall businesses are going to be affected by the tariffs. So keep that in mind. Just some short term profits and stuff like that. And then we'll probably just balance out and then see the market green. Don't get too scared though. This isn't going to be like a big market sell off. But with that being said, this will affect the market a decent amount. So keep that in mind. But he did sign some tariffs on Canada, Mexico, and China. So it's going to potentially affect global trade and investor sentiment for the next couple of weeks. So keep that in mind. And also, we do have a portfolio upgrade from Lockheed Martin's pension. So basically, they just increased their holdings in technology giants like Nvidia, Apple, and Broadcom, but they reduced their position in Walmart. Walmart is a pretty decent stock. We can look more in that a little bit later, but Walmart is a pretty good long growing stock. And honestly, I mean, that's a good long term, but they kind of reduced their position in Walmart. And some earning reports. We're gonna be talking about that a little bit more too. But people like major corporations, Amazon, Google, Palantir. But these reports will be expected to provide insights into these companies' performances and influence market movements in the next coming week. So basically, this is the earnings for next week. You guys can screenshot if you guys want. With that being said, Monday is going to be a decent one because Palantir is going to be a decent stock to look at. The way they kind of been talking about their stock is that they're kind of more on how can they grow other companies more. Like they're more focused on growing other companies and giving people kind of over delivering, which is kind of sick. But Palantir is a big one on Monday. Keep that on your radar for after close. And then for Tuesday is going to be decent. I'm very interested in AMD just to see how AMD is moving, because AMD, they haven't really been looking that good. AMD, I mean, they've been looking decent, but they haven't really been moving too much. We did kind of see it kind of go up, but then we seen it die down just once again. So it's just kind of been fluctuating. I think my recent buy goal was 120. I did get in at 120. Not even gonna lie, but I think right now, depending on how earnings go, we might hopefully see it go up. But with chip stocks and these tariffs and stuff like that, I don't think it's gonna go too well. But hopefully they talk more about the future and kind of just bring their stock price up a little bit more, or just investor sentiment up. With that being said, AMD, I don't know, man. We just been falling consistently with AMD. So I'm just very pumped to hopefully see AMD kind of come back. We did see it fall down to that 128 and then bounce back and then bounce up even more to that 170. But I think we just been consistently dying out. You know, we've been selling off, getting a decent buyback, selling off, decent buyback, but consistent bearish trend. So hopefully we can break this bearish trend. But with the tariffs and everything like that, I think we might still go down just a little bit more, just overall chip stocks. And AMD is really going to give us that oversight of what to really expect. So keep that in mind if you guys are investing in AMD. But AMD is a decent earnings after close. I think this can really change how their stock price really looks overall. A couple other ones like PayPal. PayPal is a decent one. Spotify. I think Spotify is going to do pretty decent. Everybody uses Spotify. They're probably going to get way more subscriptions and stuff like that to come out. So keep Spotify on your mind. Pfizer is going to be a good one. And I think Chipotle was a good stock like last year, but I think they're still going to look good. Of course, Google. Everybody wants to see Google. I think they broke some highs recently. So Google is going to be a decent one. And then for Wednesday, I think Uber, Ford. Ford has been looking pretty decent, but kind of dying out a little bit too. We also have auto sales coming out. We're going to be talking more about the calendar, but we got auto sales coming out, so that might move a little bit with Ford too. But Ford's on Wednesday. So it's going to be a couple more days afterwards, but I think Ford's going to be a decent one. And some other ones like Toyota, just some auto brands on Wednesday to look at. On Thursday, we got Lilly, AMD, Roblox. What? I didn't even know they does Roblox have a stock? I didn't know they had a stock. What the hell? But Amazon, of course, Amazon's been doing pretty decent. I'm very pumped to see that. That can probably move SPY a little bit if they go up or down. Um, and yeah, I think that's about it on Thursday. That's like really, really big. Friday, I don't know. Friday got some decent ones, but I'm not really looking forward to Friday either. But these are the earnings. If you guys want to screenshot that real quick. But for next week, we do got auto sales. We do got the PMI coming out. Tuesday, we got job openings. That might move the market a little bit. Factory orders. We got a chairman speaking at 7:30 p.m. Wednesday. We got employment, U.S. trade deficit. That might move it. SPY services PMI coming out. ISP services. Some other ones like that. We got some jobless claims on Thursday. Friday, we got the employment report, unemployment report, hourly rate wages. These are going to move the market too, so keep that in mind. Consumer credit. Oh, we got a decent day on Friday, honestly. So keep this all on your mind. This is one thing you want to look at because this can really move the market, especially if you day trade. You don't want to get into a day trade and then one of these come out and then moves your trade the opposite way. So keep that on your mind. Some stocks I'm really looking forward to this week is Apple. I'm going to say Apple moves. We did have, we can look at it on this chart, but we did kind of have it kind of go up with earnings and then we filled that gap back downwards. So I think we can maybe fill the gap up just a little bit more, maybe maintain that 240 level or maybe just keep going up. You can't really see it too well on this, but we kind of hit a bottom on Apple, and then we kind of just been bullish ever since. And then the earnings came out, and we've been even more bullish. So keep that on your mind because we did hit a bottom. So we hit like a decent high, and then we went down, and then we hit a bullish trend before earnings, and then earnings came out, still bullish, and then now we're kind of just falling off. So we might either see it continue the momentum upwards or go back to the downtrend. So I'm kind of pumped to see how Apple moves. NVIDIA, we got the tariffs coming out. We had a meeting with Trump and the CEO of NVIDIA. So I'm very pumped to see how NVIDIA moves. Hopefully we can either see it back up to the upside and or Trump in the meeting just didn't really go well and we see it still go to the downside. But I think honestly, like if you see this at like a 100 level or even the 110, you can probably load up on some shares because a lot of people are still pretty pumped for this stock. Next one, we got Tesla. Tesla's earnings was decent, but with that being said, we have been above that 400 level for a little bit, not too long, but for a little bit. So maybe we can maintain a higher level, hopefully, with Tesla. But those are some of the stocks I really want to look at. But with that being said, let's get to the overall charts and get more deeper into it. But with that being said, last week we are kind of up and down. So Google has been out, up 3%, Apple up 5%, like I said before. We got Broadcom down 10%, 20% on NVIDIA, and this is basically the China AI and stuff like that coming out. So we have more things about that, but people kind of said that DeepSeek isn't as good as what NVIDIA can do, but DeepSeek kind of proved that you can do AI at a cheaper level. But with that being said, you can't really use DeepSeek for, self-driving cars or anything like that. So you can't use DeepSeek for like self-driving cars or anything like. But with that being said, I'm very pumped. So let's get into it. So first off, we're going to talk about AMD. So depending on earnings go and stuff like that, we could still see it maybe down to the downside. It's the 4 hour time frame. So basically, we might try to make a low on this again. So I think we can get down to 114, 112. Watch how that 112 reacts, and we might be able to bounce down to that 110. And then if earnings go good, we might be able to bounce down 112 and then bounce back. With that being said, if we do go to the upside, I'll watch that 115 level once again because we might test it, go down below it, and then retest it again to the upside. So 115, 117, 119, and then 120, and then going up to that 125 level. See how that 125 reacts because we kind of had some bounce offs from that 125. So this is just the overall week outlook on these stocks. So I might get some crazy levels, but these are some decent levels to look at. Tesla, I think we might look at that 400 level once again, see how it reacts. We might get a bounce off of it, or we might bounce below it to that 398 level, 395. 395 is going to be key, and then that 392 level. So keep that in mind to the upside. I would look at it at that 405 level, 410, 420, and maybe that 425. But we did bounce off that 420, and then but if we can get a decent breakthrough, we can see 425, maybe 430, and maybe go up higher. But I'm not really too sure. We could probably see 435, but hopefully we can see that 460 level once again. But we haven't really seen it in a while, so we have to. I think we need some good news. But I think recently Tesla did come out with better news for the robotaxi and the robots coming out, so we might see the stock move upwards. So keep that on your mind. NVIDIA, man, depending on how this meeting went and depending on the news that we get next week, we might see NVIDIA to the downside or to the upside a lot. So, with that being said, I do want to see how it tests that 119 level, 118, 116, 115, and then that 110 level, like I was saying before. If we can break below that 110 level, we might have potential to see that 100 level, but that's only if we get like horrible news. And then if we get decent news, we might see it bounce off that 119 or off that 118 up to the 120, break the 120, see how it breaks the one, or test the 120, and then if it breaks the 120, we can see it go above 120, 122, 123, 124, 125. These are gonna be like dollar. Just look at the dollars as the supports and resistance. With that being said, going up 130, do want to see it how it tests the 130. If we can break above that 130, we could probably see it kind of balance out at like that 140 level, maybe that 140, or it might just balance out at that 130 level. But a lot of people are like kind of like under hyping this stock, but also hyping this stock up. Like a lot of people are just saying that they're loading up right now, and or people are saying that it is still going to fall. So I think it's like a 50-50, Overall, SPY, honestly, you got to look at the overall market of how the tech stocks and stuff is looking. But with that being said, I do want to see how it tests that 600 level, and then going down below that 600 level to that 598, 596, 595, and then that 592 level and that 590, of course. But going to the upside, I do want to see how it reacts with that 602, 604, 605, 610, and breaking past that 610. But with that being said, we were pretty healthy with the SPY until the DeepSeek stuff came out. But then we were kind of bullish, as you guys can see. But kind of what I was saying before, we were bullish after that DeepSeek news came out because people were kind of like, DeepSeek ain't really going to be that big, right? We were pretty much hyping it up. And then now the tariffs came out, and the tariffs kind of showed a big sell off with tech stocks. So keep that on your mind. Amazon, we got earnings coming out next week. So with that being said, I do want to see how this kind of moves. We've been pretty bullish. Like we've been decently bullish recently, of course, and kind of still showing some bullish. But with that being said, I do want to see how it reacts. It might go to the downside a little bit more, maybe 234 and then bounce off. But with that being said, going to the downside, I'll watch 234, 232, 230, and then going to the downside even more. And then to the upside, I'll look at that 240 level, see how test that once again. We've been testing it, but kind of been failing. But so watch that 240 going up even more, 242, 42, 245, 246, and then 250. But it just depends on how earnings go. And if they give us some good news and some great numbers, we can see it go up even more. That being said, like I said before with Apple, we have been kind of falling off on the 4 hour time frame. So I really want to see how it reacts because we did indeed fill some gaps. So we filled the gap upwards with earnings, but then we filled it downwards 100%, and then even more, a little bit more. So with that being said, it does show a decent bearish trend, and depending on how it moves with that 230 level right here, if we can break below the 230 level, we might see Apple move down even more. Or if we bounce off that 230 level, we can see it bounce off and then maybe go up to that 240 level, like I was saying before. But with that being said, I do want to see how that 235, 239, and 240 level reacts. And if we can break past that 240, we might be able to see 242, 245, and then even testing those 250s once again. If we could test those 250s, we might be overall bullish on this stock, and maybe even going back up to that 260 level and seeing how it reacts with that. So keep that on your mind and keep that on your radar. Being said, I did say I would look at Walmart. Walmart has been looking pretty decent, looking pretty bullish overall. But I think people are kind of looking at it as bouncing off that 100, almost that 100. So we might see a little downward trend. Might fill some of these gaps down to that 96 level. Might even see if we break below this 96 level, we might show a little bit bearish. But with that being said, Walmart doesn't really move too much, but it kind of moves slowly. So as you guys can see, we're moving slowly to the upside, but we might be moving slowly to the downside a little bit more as people sell off and sell their shares. But with that being said, I do want to see how it tests that 100 level. If we can break that 100 level, we can show that it's consistently bullish still, but we might have a tiny little sell off with a lot of people just taking profits and just getting out of their shares, basically. It's a long term stock, so keep that on your mind. But yeah, thanks for watching the video. Smash the like button, subscribe if you guys are new. Let me know if you guys made any money last week. And let me know what is you guys' goals to make this week. Join our Discord, hit some of those links to get some free stocks. And that Coinbase link, you can have a chance to win 1 Bitcoin. And yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Peace out.